Yes, so today I'll go a little bit more about what the open source one is about. I think the setup is going to be in a different video where I'll actually go through the setup process. Well, not entirely, but I'll go over like I guess the common questions I had. I think there was a question about TA lib and everything, but did that in a little bit. The open source model, yeah, so I think how open source works. I think the information here is straightforward. If it isn't, I'm going to link this playlist so people can watch it. And yeah. Um, That's so I think the tricky part. So yes, you have to obviously clone the repository. If you want to use the open source, train your own version of AmpyFin, yeah, you're free to do it. It's open source for that reason. So you can clone the repository, install dependencies. You might, get an error saying tlib couldn't be found. So before you do pip install -r requirements, I would advise you go to tlib indicators. The original and the easy version. This I have linked both. Yeah, and then create your configuration template. So I don't think there is a configuration template, so you might have to make your own configuration template. And you're gonna have to fill all your API keys. This is, there, it still holds true. This, I think you just name it config.py and you add it to the root repository. So yeah, API setups, you could sign up for polygon.io. It's gonna link you over here. Sign up for Polygon, financial prep, and Alpaca. And you might be wondering, wait, isn't there so many API? Isn't there so many, APIs you have to sign up for? Why do like, three? So I think a good reason is I think the goal of the open source is to make it transparent. That's why it's open source. To make it usable for everybody. People who want to learn, they're able to access it and they're able to, build out their own framework from AmpyFin if they wanted to. So AmpyFin is just like a baseline. And the third one is why you have so many API setups is to keep it free. I think, by making it free, it's people would use it more, I guess. So yes, you're gonna have to jump through hurdles, sign up for Polygon.io, financial model and prep, Alpaca API. You're gonna have to sign up for I think maybe one more. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So major goal of this, keep it free, but obviously in the future, we're going to try to scale it down. Alpaca API, we're probably going to change this to IBKR, but that's somewhere in the future. MongoDB, this is something we're also going to switch out. For us, we're using Quest DB, but MongoDB still works, and we're going to switch so that our users could, start utilizing Quest DB, which is better for time series than MongoDB. Yeah, so sign up for MongoDB, create a database, replace the Mongo URL in config.py, and also I will note you're gonna have to, how do we do it? You're gonna have to give access to the network 0.0.0.0/0, which gives access to everywhere. And then you just run python setup.py right in your terminal. And this is assuming you have everything in your config.py. After that, and this is probably the last one, you set up, your weights and biases. So we use WannaBe now for weights and biases. Not weights and biases. WannaBe for storing models, and this is specifically for training. If you don't want to train, the whole objective of this open source project is to get people to train their own models. But if you say no, I don't want to train my own model, feel free to skip this step. But I would advise not to. I would strongly suggest you train, and you should try using WannaBe. So this is the last API you have to sign up for. And yeah, and this is what you can do with the weights and biases. So yeah, um, probably should fix this. This is probably an error. But yes, to run AmpyFin, all you have to do is just run python ranking client.py, python training client.py on two separate terminals, and it works. To train your mobile model, this is where the fun begins. You change under control.py, you change it to mode train, and it's gonna, you could just run main.py, or you could, I was just, you change the mode to train, and and then you change the various parameters. I'll go into that in the setup video. And then you could just run python train sim /main.py and it will work. And yeah, just a note here. And I think this process used to take a long time, a very long time. But we use parallel computing now. We kind of like use threading and multi parallel computing. So pre-computed decisions are what we run with, not non-computed decisions. So it's able to run faster as well. And yeah, we can with weights and bias integration, you could train various models and you just store it in your one-to-be account. You don't have to, store the JSON files, store, the tear sheets, the logs. You don't have to store that, in your laptop where there's finite amount of memory. I mean, there is always finite amount of memory, but now you get to view it online and store it on the cloud. Well, I don't know if it's the cloud. It probably is, but yeah, you get to see in your one-to-be dashboard. To test your model, and this is where your tear sheets are going to be generated. You update control if you want to test, and you could change, fine tune your model again. I would suggest you don't fine tune it to keep ranking and trading pretty much the same for the testing part. And you just run Python tradesim main.py, and it back tests it and it generates a tear sheet for you. Obviously for the proprietary system, we use QuestDB, Quest not Quest, Quantstat. Um, that's what we use, but we're thinking of integrating to Vector BT when we figure out the automation pipeline from testing back to training loop. But that's for the proprietary. So that's yeah for Quantstats, and it works for a testing model. To push the model, so once you've trained and tested your model and you're very satisfied with it, you change the mode to push, and this is very dangerous. I would say train and test multiple times. Just test multiple times. And once you're satisfied that this is the model you want to work with, you update control.py to test, to push, and then you run Python tracer main.py. And it's going to push your model into MongoDB, and whatever was in your MongoDB is going to be wiped out in terms of that trading sim data. And it's going to populate your MongoDB with the new time delta, the new rankings, the new everything, the new trade sim ranking holdings, things like that. Just a little bit more about the file structures. Don't think this is that important. Yeah, so this is some best practices. So if you're not going to train your model, I suggest you at least run rating client.py for at least 2 weeks. That way you're not just going in blind buying random stocks. Alternatively, I'd say, train a model and then push it to MongoDB before executing live trades. I would actually suggest further, once you train a model and test it thoroughly and push it into MongoDB, you try paper trade, and it's defaulted to paper trade actually because I don't want people live trading and go like, I tried using AmpyFin and it was set to live trading and I traded for live and I lost this X amount. If you gained the money, then yay, congrats. I mean, I don't think AmpyFin had anything to do with it. Like, I think, yeah, but I think if you lost money and you go like, oh, it was because I tried using AmpyFin, it's not really that good. So I always advise train your model, test it thoroughly. Then you can push into MongoDB and test, 2 weeks, 3 weeks through paper testing. Sometimes not paper testing, paper trades. Sometimes, 4 weeks if you want. I mean, for us, we did it for about 2.5 months, and not 2.5 years, and then we started live trading. So so I guess, running a pre-trained model ensures strategies are ranked appropriately rather than making random trades. And also, you could design something, like AmpyFin from scratch. You could train your own different versions of models to activate when there's this indicator spikes up or things like that. So feel free to use it however you see it fit. Yeah, this is weights and biases. You can create one-to-be projects, tag your one-to-be runs with production testing experimental. Yeah, very good. And these are your logs files. So one-to-be logs access detailed training and testing. Testing logs tend to be about like around 1 giga. I think for us might be like it's probably gonna be less than 1 gig for a lot of people, but it's still a lot. And when you have a lot of logs, you don't want to store in your laptop. So that's when you store it on your one-to-be. And yeah, all questions, all contributions are welcome. You just submit a PR, but I'd say work on the test branch before merging to me. So I would say if you're gonna, contribute to AmpyFin, and all contributions are welcome. Um, that's what the open source community is about. I would suggest you push it to test, push your change to test. That way, I could test it during the weekends, and then if it does work with all 8 servers, then and I guess my laptop as well, then I'm gonna push it to main so that people could start using it. So yeah, and MIT licensing, that's pretty standard. So yeah, that's I guess the overview about you know how the open source model works, and I think I did cover why I made it open source, probably like on this video or the last video, but yeah, that's it for open source. Next video we'll go over how to set it up. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, yes, again, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So yeah, thank you.